80 warships, France's navy is one of the most powerful in the world. Its ships are engaged in all theatres of military operation.
The sea is clearly the center of the world. So whoever wants to dominate the land must dominate the sea.
As both firing platform and ship, these vessels contain an extraordinary concentration of technologies.
The warship is one of the most complex systems that humankind is capable of designing and operating.
From the galleys of the 17th century to the armour-plated ships of the Second World War, we'll travel through 4 centuries of history to discover the technologies which today's warships have inherited.
A lot of research was required to obtain a ship capable of functioning well at sea, whilst fulfilling its military role as an artillery platform.
We'll explain why the cannon profoundly changed ships' architecture and transformed the art of war.
A 380mm gun is capable of firing a 1-ton missile at 900 kilometers per hour every 1.5 to 2 minutes.
You'll discover the combat technique of the first warship, the galley.
The strength of the galley lay in its impact.
And how they built genuine walls of wood to protect against cannonballs. You'll understand why warships were slow to adopt the steam engine in the 19th century.
You immediately think steam, that's it. No. Perfecting it took a very long time. It was complicated.
And the reasons why torpedoes and aircraft brought an end to a century of domination by the steel monsters. Welcome to 400 years of history and technology. Welcome to warships. Off the coast of Africa, in the Indian Ocean, warships with futuristic silhouettes are cruising. Among them is the most valuable element of the French Navy, a giant, the aircraft carrier Charles de Gaulle. The ship launches the Rafale into action, the latest generation of combat aircraft.
It's a 40,000-ton ship, which carries around 30 aircraft made up of the Rafale, the Hawkeye, which is the early warning aircraft, and then helicopters to carry out logistics, transport, and to protect the aircraft in their takeoff and landing phases. An aircraft carrier transports aircraft which carry out missions of reconnaissance, no-fly zone enforcement, interception, bombing, anti-ship warfare, everything an aircraft is capable of.
It is the largest ship in the French Navy, at 261 meters long and 64 meters wide. The Charles de Gaulle is the only surface ship with a nuclear propulsion system, which needs refueling just every 7 years. The 12,000 square meter flight deck, equivalent to 2 football pitches, is home to around 30 Rafale aircraft and 1 Hawkeye, and its 2 steam catapults can launch its aircraft in just 15 minutes.
I don't think there's anything more sophisticated than a warship. It's the largest object manufactured, constructed, made by humans that exists in the world. It's a tool that's very expensive to design and construct. It requires a huge amount of know-how in every aspect. It's the most accomplished tool from the technical and technological points of view. You could compare it today to the conquest of space.
Thanks to the aircraft carrier, France can deploy its military power and defend its strategic interests anywhere in the world. No target is out of reach.
The warship is a part of France that can go anywhere in the world. It's capable of cruising any ocean on the planet, reaching every continent, and 80% of the population.
Quand vous avez un porte-avions, vous...
When you have an aircraft carrier, you position it close to the coast. And with your aircraft, you can go a lot further, so you have a much greater ability to strike inland.
The jewel of the French Navy is always accompanied by its escort. A minimum of 6 ships, which make up the task force.
An aircraft carrier is never alone at sea. It's surrounded by a whole armada, which will allow it to escape from submarines or airborne threats, if there happened to be any.
To protect the aircraft carrier, 1 anti-air frigate, 2 multi-purpose frigates specialized in anti-submarine combat, 1 replenishment oiler ship, and 1 nuclear attack submarine, which will be the fighter and protector of the task force.
Danger can come from anywhere, because contemporary naval warfare is in 3 dimensions: surface, air, and underwater. And no ship can defend itself against these 3 dimensions.
While ships join battle today at a distance of over 1,000 kilometers, 4 centuries ago, they confronted each other in deadly close combat battles. One ship was perfectly designed for that type of fighting, the galley. In the 17th century, France had 40 galleys in a corps commanded by a general of the galleys. The corps was made up of 3 types of ship: the ordinary galley, the ultimate battleship; the patron galley for the commanders of the corps; and the royal galley for the use of the king, queen, and royal princes. The ship originated in the Mediterranean in the year 600 BC and was designed for close combat.
The galley was a combat weapon. The idea was to surprise the enemy ships, to sail around them, to surround them if they were isolated ships, and then to ram them. The strength of the galley lay in its impact, because you had to smash into the enemy galley at right angles.
Smashing into the opposing ship meant ramming it at full speed, so the galley was shaped to glide over the waves. The slender hull, 8 times longer than it was wide, offered exceptional hydrodynamic performance. Its low height in the water gave the oars maximum lever effect. Finally, this ship, weighing just 250 tons, had 2 means of propulsion.
Galleys had 1 or 2 masts with triangular sails, and as soon as there was a bit of wind, they put the sails up. But the main characteristic of the galley was the oars, the human propulsion.
An ordinary galley had 51 oars, 26 on one side and 25 on the other. Each oar was 12 meters long and weighed up to 130 kilograms. With 5 rowers per oar, 255 men were required to crew the ship.
They would stand up and use all their body weight, and they would hold their oar, in which there were wooden structures called palements, which they'd grip with their hands, and then they'd push the oar all the way forward and pull it back towards them. And that's how they made the galley advance.
A good rower was a man with big thighs, rather than big arms, because basically it's the strength in the legs, the thighs, which make the ship move faster, and the arms just go with the oar.
At full speed, the galley could reach 6 knots or 11 kilometers per hour, fast enough to seriously damage the opposing ship on impact. While the slender hull allowed it to go fast, its low height in the water meant it couldn't sail outside the Mediterranean.
Galleys stayed close to shore. They weren't sea-going ships. In winter, they stayed in port. If it was windy, they couldn't sail, so galleys weren't used often.
The reason the galley fell from favour wasn't its poor nautical qualities, but its limited firepower.
The problem with a galley was that you needed space for the oars and for the artillery. So the galley's artillery was packed into the bow. When two fleets of galleys confronted each other, they did so facing each other because of their cannons. The idea was to weaken the enemy before close combat.
It was fairly tokenistic, because once you fire a cannon, you have to reload it, and it was very difficult to reload a cannon on a galley.
From 1680, galleys were no longer used in the front line as they didn't have enough cannons. The ship was abandoned after reigning over the Mediterranean for 2 millennia. The firepower of today's warships is impressive, like that of the multi-purpose frigate that protects the aircraft carrier.
The Frem is without doubt the best surface combat ship today in the frigate class. It's able to handle all the current threats with its extremely powerful weapons.
On the sides, two 12.7mm guns ensure close protection. At the stern, two 20mm remote-controlled guns allow automatic firing with target locking by day and by night. More imposing, on the bow is a 75mm gun with a range of 30 kilometers. It can destroy land, sea or airborne targets. Against aircraft, there are 16 Aster missiles which can reach 3,500 kilometers per hour. Finally, the frigate has 16 naval cruise missiles to strike targets over 1,000 kilometers away. Ship's armament is the result of a long technical evolution.